Hi, welcome back to the Drink or Difference podcast. My name is Frank DeNoro, and like always, it's a pleasure to be your host. And really, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. This is episode number 3. It's called Why Certain Areas in New Jersey Must Get a Sewer Line Inspection. But in addition to New Jersey having a record snow this year and freezing temperatures this year, we haven't seen this in over 10 years. It's just an additional reason why you should have your sewer line inspected no later than the beginning of spring. But we will discuss this in more detail why on a special episode next week. But for now, New Jersey does still have perfect conditions for sewer problems to be considered a high-risk state. We have older housing infrastructure, aggressive tree growth, right? And outdated and outlived sewer line materials such as clay, cast iron, and orangeburg. New Jersey also has dense neighborhoods and frequent renovations due to the age of some of these homes. And with plenty of investment opportunities in New Jersey, there are so many flips out there. So let's break this down by area. But first, no matter where the homes are located in New Jersey, homes that are built before 1980 are always a priority when it comes to inspecting your sewer line, at least once every other year if you already own the home. The pre-1980 homes often contain the clay, cast iron, and orangeburg materials, which contribute to common failures, such as root intrusion, pipe offsets, bellies, and collapsed sections of the line. But with pre-1980 homes being a priority, it's the pre-1950 homes that are high priority, specifically northern New Jersey. And this is why northern New Jersey is a must with respect to a sewer line inspection before you purchase that home, or even as a preventative, because a preventative can catch the damaged sewer line that can now allow several repair options to be available to you if you catch them in time. And you could prevent the sewage water from possibly entering your home due to the sewer line failure, which will damage and contaminate your home and personal property. And as mentioned, the preventative can catch the issue in time, which can allow several cost-effective options made available to you before the sewer line is just a complete collapse. And once it's a complete collapse, there's only one option, is really to dig out and destroy everything in the sewer line path, such as pavers, driveways, walkways, landscape, the hardscape. So obviously, now there is additional cost besides the sewer line repair. And the cost can be so deep, it can create an economic disaster. I mean, think about it. What if you can't afford to repair the sewer line? Now you can't use the toilet, the water, the showers, anything. And I've seen this countless times. And I mean, besides the economic disaster, it turns into an emotional crisis. Let's break this down by northern counties that are high alert in northern New Jersey. Counties such as Essex County, Union County, Hudson County, Bergen County, and Passaic County. And more specifically, let's break this down by the towns in these counties. And we could start with Bergen County. Bergen County towns such as Hackensack, you have Ridgewood, Teaneck, Englewood, Fair Lawn, Garfield, Lodi. In Essex County, we have Newark, East Orange, South Orange, Bloomfield, even Montclair and Irvington. In Hudson County, we have towns such as Jersey City, Hoboken, Union City, Weehawken, West New York, and beyond. Union County, we have Elizabeth and Linden, Plainfield, we have Westfield, Rahway, and in Passaic County, we have Patterson and Clifton. So here's the deal. The sewer lines in these towns, they often have sewer lines that are installed in homes that are made with clay and cast iron that are not made to live forever. And as a matter of fact, and in addition to outdated sewer line materials, they already have outlived their life expectancy. So with that being said, quick question, would you want to purchase a home that the sewer line has outlived its life expectancy from outdated material? I mean, maybe still, because old doesn't mean bad, but it does mean inspection. Look, clay and cast iron sewer lines often get affected with root intrusion through the connections. Think about it. These materials were so heavy, they couldn't install just one continuous line, unlike PVC's lightweight material. So they needed to install them in sections, right? Makes sense now. It makes sense for root intrusion to get into these connections, which eventually mangle the sewer line. And in addition, these materials can have offsets, cracked joints, and corrosion, which can cause partial or even a complete collapse. In addition to the material and the common failure issues, these towns, due to the age of the homes and frequent renovations involving kitchens, bathrooms, or finished basements, which can have an adverse effect on the older sewer lines, right? Think about it. If you are in the home buying market, how many homes did you see that were renovated? Many, right? Do the contractors or homeowners that did the renovations ever pour paint or other materials down the drains? Nah, no, they would never do that, right? And if they did, it would never get built on a sewer line that already had, unknowingly, already had damages to the sewer line. This would never happen, right? I know I'm trying to make light of this, but I can't tell you how many times, whether as an insurance adjuster or for a customer for a sewer line repair, that just moved into their home. And when they started using the water, they realized they had a problem. And it's such a disaster. And often in these northern New Jersey towns, when repairing these sewer lines, you don't just replace the pipe, right? You replace the concrete, the asphalt, and sometimes parts of the house. So again, when it comes to northern New Jersey and you're purchasing a home, don't ever miss a camera inspection to the sewer line. And it's wise to have a preventative sewer line inspection conducted if you already own the home, so you can control the cost of repairs by having several repair options being available to you before it's too late. And as a matter of fact, these areas are at such high risk of sewer line issues. Towns in Essex County are actually high enforcement towns, meaning camera inspections of the sewer lines are frequently required to close permits or issue that CO. And to be more specific, some of these towns in Essex County include Maplewood, South Orange, Montclair, Bloomfield, West Orange, and Livingston. Same thing with Union County. And some of these towns that have high enforcement are Westfield. We have Cranford, Summit, Scotts Plains, Plainfield. And in Bergen County towns such as Ridgewood, Teaneck, Fairlawn, and Paramus and Englewood, the camera inspection is either required or at the least strongly recommended due to such an older infrastructure. It just makes sense. And then we have moderate, high priority northern New Jersey towns I'd like to discuss. And it's due to the mixed materials and transitions. For example, let me explain. Homes in these following areas often have PVC transitions tied into older sewer line materials because at one time the damaged line was caught in time and was repaired instead of a full line replacement, right? Which eventually can cause future issues. And one being that eventually the rest of the sewer line may need to be replaced. And the transitions are access points for roots and offsets. In Morris County, and more specifically Morristown, Dover, Madison, and Boonton are targeted areas that have mixed materials due to these transitions. So as you can see, clearly, northern New Jersey has counties and towns for many reasons that should always have a sewer line camera inspection, specifically due to age, sewer line material, dense population, renovations, flips, town requirements, and due to the nature's elements. So let's work our way down to central Jersey's older communities that include Middlesex County, Somerset County, Mercer County, and older sections of Monmouth County. So let's break these central Jersey high priority towns by material first, such as post-war material, post-war 1945 to 1972 material called Orangeburg, and that now has lived past its life expectancy. But what is Orangeburg? What's it made of? Orangeburg is made from wood pulp, paper fibers, pressed into a tube, and saturated with coal tar to waterproof. I'll say it again. Orangeburg is made from wood pulp, paper fibers, pressed into a tube, and saturated with coal tar to waterproof. Sounds crazy, right? But after the war, it was what was affordable. But Orangeburg is not rigid like clay or cast iron or PVC. So over time, it tends to collapse under soil weight or traffic. And it can also blister and delaminate, which causes the inner wall to peel. The thing is, you can't generally create a transition to repair the damaged section with PVC because the orange burr will just fall. So please, 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 if you are in the following areas in New Jersey, do not miss the sewer line inspection before you purchase that home. And if you already own that home in these following areas, and you are unsure of the material of the sewer line, have it inspected so you can plan, if it's Orangeburg, for the inevitable. So let's focus in on these central New Jersey towns that are at a high priority, such as towns in Middlesex County, which include Edison, Woodbridge, Sayreville, Perth Amboy, and Metuchen. Somerset County includes Somerville, Boundbrook, and North Plainfield. Mercer counties include Trenton, Hamilton, and as a matter of fact, Princeton's official sewer permit application says the applicant may be required to conduct a video inspection as a condition of permit approval, and that the sewer department's review acceptance of the laterals condition, which is your sewer line, is required prior to approval of for the certificate of occupancy. Again, these areas have common outlet sewer line materials, such as Orangeburg, as well as early cast iron materials, which cause the typical findings, such as pipe deformation, bellies, root penetration, and collapses. In addition, there are central Jersey counties that, due to mixed materials, such as PVC transitions tied into the older sewer line materials, such as clay and cast iron. For instance, Monmouth County towns such as Red Bank, Freehold Borough, Ocean County towns such as older sections of Toms River, Lakewood's pre-1970 areas. These towns often have PVC tied into the cast iron or clay during repairs. And the typical findings are offsets and bellies and poor slope and joint failures. Last but not least, let's talk about the areas in South New Jersey and their older housing infrastructure, including Camden County, Gloucester County, Burlington County, and older areas in Atlantic County. And the typical findings are clay pipe separation, root damage, poor pitch, and long, shallow sewer laterals. So let's break these again by town, such as Camden County, which includes Camden, old sections of Cherry Hill, Collingswood, Haddon Township, Haddonfield, and Willingboro Township. As a matter of fact, Willingboro's ordinance requires that prior to property transfer, the seller must get an video inspection. And if you are remodeling bathrooms, kitchens, finished basements, slab cutting, and new fixtures, this can increase the load capacity. So get the sewer line inspected before and after the work begins, because the before inspection will identify existing defects, because the last thing anyone wants is a sewage discharge in the renovated area or any area to become ruined. And the after inspection of the renovation is to identify the possibility of construction debris entering the line during the renovations and to ensure that the connections are properly tied in. Remember, just because the contractors pass building inspections does not mean the sewer line is healthy, because unless there is an actual counter inspection, you can never truly know. A point specifically for homebuyers: no inspection means unknown liability, and repairs after closing are 100% yours. And a point for home sellers: undisclosed issues can derail deals, and at best, sewer surprises increases concessions. For contractors, inspection prior to any renovation ensures that your work won't get affected by a sewer discharge later due to a current problem that could have been prevented because it should have been identified. And the sewer line inspection after the renovation can prevent the trigger of disputes. Therefore, documentation protects everyone. The point of this episode is to illustrate the fact that New Jersey homes carry unique underground risks. But again, all doesn't mean bad, but it does mean inspect. So we hope this podcast edition really helps shed some light on the areas of New Jersey that must have a sewer line inspection. And I hope you will join us on next week's episode 4. But until then, through education, protection, and advocacy, this is the Drain Code Difference.